bitches go.
We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxing Ego Unpacked. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Heavyweight boxing is back. The British are coming. The British are coming. Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, Dillian Whyte. We're going to talk about it all. We unpack. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Sign up for ESPN Plus using my link in the description box of all of my videos. It helps the channel when you guys use that, and I appreciate it. You can now bundle ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, and Hulu, all three apps, one low price, $12.99 a month, and it helps us continue to grow, do new things, travel, on the channel more and more. So shout out to everybody. Now, man, I don't want to have too much of a preamble, but heavyweight boxing is back. Shout out to Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, and shout out to Tyson Fury. Excellent promotion. They had excellent pair of fights that they had. Congrats to Tyson Fury defeating Wilder in a dynamic, dominant way. Props to Wilder for showing mad heart and, looking Tyson Fury's way when he couldn't get Anthony Joshua. People, are down on Wilder right now. I'm still going to support Wilder. I'm still going to support Tyson Fury, and I'm going to still support good boxing. I see people trying to kick Wilder while he's down, and, they act like it's a joyous occasion to celebrate and stuff. But you got to understand that Wilder is a true man's man, fighting man, because when he couldn't get what he wanted for obvious reasons with Anthony Joshua, he moved directly on to, obviously, somebody who's, his kryptonite, and somebody who's hard to deal with for his style, and Tyson Fury. And we got a pair of great fights, and boxing got the spotlight, made a lot of money. There was some controversy, ups and downs, and, that's just where we're at. One thing I love, there's people, because I got my prediction wrong. So, little men and stuff, they come to the channel trying to taunt. I've given Tyson Fury all the credit because he made me eat crow, and he did what I didn't think he would be able to do, is as long as the fight lasted, sustain the game plan he was saying. I was like, nah, he's going to get caught. That's really risky. He did it. He pulled it off. Fair play to him. Kudos. But the thing that these emotional guys trying to taunt and troll and stuff don't realize that I like a good underdog story. And Tyson Fury just turned boxing upside down. If you look at it, it's similar to Andy Ruiz when he beat Joshua, but on steroids. It's like times 10, because the name, like, Joshua wasn't supposed to lose to Andy Ruiz. People weren't really checking for him at that time. Tyson Fury and Wilder, this was an anticipated fight, controversy from the first fight, etc. So this was everything amplified. Tyson Fury, not body beautiful, weighed in with the shirt, and considered pillow fisted, not considered the knockout artist, and he knocked out the knockout artist, and he bullied the bully. Great stuff. Heavyweight division, if you really think about it, just to quickly recap, it's had a lot of shifts and pendulum shifts and changes. You've seen Anthony Joshua last year lose to, first he was supposed to fight Gerald Miller. He failed a drug test, so that was one shock to people. Then they replaced him, 5-6 week replacement, Andy Ruiz, a guy, again, not body beautiful, shorter. Joshua looks built and buff, undefeated, knocked out Klitschko. People aren't thinking he's going to lose to Andy Ruiz. Boom. American debut, he loses to Andy Ruiz, and in a bad way, knocked down 4 times, etc. So that was one shift. And boxing is so crazy, and this is what I love about it, is like the Wild Wild West. There's aspects like that I don't like, that we don't have a governing body and uniform rules, but this is theater of the unknown, expect the unexpected type thing. So Joshua lost to a PBC fighter, Al Heyman fighter, and he collected all those belts. So Wilder still had the WBC at the time. So just last year, there was a point in time where all the belts were in PBC's hands, right? Then Andy Ruiz loses in December. So the unified titles, Joshua got him back, a British fighter with Eddie Hearn. And then now they did the rematch for Wilder versus Fury. Wilder just knocked out Luis Ortiz too, worse than he did in the first fight. And Tyson Fury steamrolls him and beats him. And now another British fighter with another promotion has the belt. So now the UK has all the belts. So it's just crazy how that worked. PBC had all the belts last year. Then that changed back. It's just a lot of shifting. Kind of reminds me of a 154-pound division. And, I don't want to get too much into the other divisions for this Unpacked. But, Edeslandi Lara, he loses to Hurd. You're like, oh, wow, there's a new player in town. Then Jermell Charlo and Hurd was considered the fight to be had. Then Jermell Charlo loses to Harrison. You're like, what the hell? And then a guy that Charlo's brother beat, J-Rock, is the mandatory for Hurd. Hurd has, collected these bodies like Lada and Harrison, Austin Trout. And then Hurd loses to J-Rock. You're like, what the hell? And then in January, J-Rock has a hometown fight in Philly. And he loses to an unknown guy named Rosario. And December, the month before that, Charlo got his belt back. It's calamity. It is pure madness and it's crazy. And heavyweight in 154, the talent pool is so thick, we're seeing changes. Now, this video is Eddie Hearn, and he's promising a fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. And I want to make this video and kind of talk about it. First of all, Eddie Hearn, he's seeing dollar signs. This is the first time in history where two British heavyweight champions were, had all the belts for all the divisions. I don't ever remember a time in history where one guy had all the unified titles and then the WBC Ring Magazine title and lineal titles the other guy had, and they were both British in the heavyweight division. That is now. So Eddie Hearn's trying to jump in the mix. In this video, he says Tyson Fury, he might have to fight Wilder again, and he'll beat him again, and Anthony Joshua is going to beat Kubrat Pulev. Or he's saying in other recent interviews that Joshua is willing to, like I seen people, I don't know if it was Eddie Hearn, but someone said they would consider doing some step aside money for Kubrat Pulev. If actually that's what Eddie Hearn said. He says if Top Rank is willing to let step aside money be sent to Kubrat Pulev to bow out of the way, then Joshua won't fight him. So, the reality is this: there's a rematch clause. And just like when Eddie Hearn got in the way of PBC having to fight for Undisputed, I don't see it being that easy for Eddie Hearns to make this British bash between Tyson Fury. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. I got a couple things to talk about, namely with kind of British boxing in UK. So as you guys see in this article, Tyson Fury expects Deontay Wilder rematch rather than Joshua showdown. You see, the two have already done business together twice. They just set in America a live gate record. Tyson Fury's stock is extremely high right now. The highest he's been with the US promoter since last year. He just beat our American champion in America. He beat Klitschko when no one could beat him. His stock is up there. So to me, I don't care how many belts Joshua has, Tyson Fury is easily the A side. But beyond that, there's a rematch clause. Deontay Wilder, this might not sit well with him. So I can understand and appreciate people like Andre Ward and others have said, hey, this is so much of a risk and you didn't really show much in the first fight. You shouldn't do the immediate rematch. But since when has that worked? I don't think these guys are true fighters. People are stubborn. They're not going to listen to, that's going to fuel their fire even more. So I think Wilder would probably try to get the rematch in, despite what, people saying he shouldn't, or I don't want to see the fight. Forget about that, because people are still going to watch it. Because the first one, people still argue over like the long count and, if Fury outboxed him, should have been stopped when he was on unconscious. Then Fury won the second fight clean. People said, maybe something was wrong with Wilder. People will watch the third one. So, I understand Eddie Hearn's trying to clout chase like DAZN always does and stuff. But I really don't see Joshua and Tyson Fury happening next. The only way is if Wilder says, hey, I got to rebuild and I got to bounce back. But it's funny, like I said, as quick as the belts left this side to this side and like bounced around, PBC could have did an undisputed fight between Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder. And that would have been a different fight for Wilder than Tyson Fury, because Fury's attributes and his size and his style is much more different than Ruiz. And Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua jumped in the mix and pulled the trigger on the immediate rematch. So I don't think PBC, already having done business with Top Rank, done business with ESPN, Queensberry Promotions, and Eddie Hearns, I don't see them, just getting out the way. And I don't see Wilder, being the person he is, not trying to do the rematch. So, I think it's just clout chasing, But either way, I think Tyson Fury holds the cards. He holds the cards. And, leads me to my next point. DAZN has a weird business model where they don't do pay-per-view, at least at the moment. Tyson Fury and Wilder made so much money on pay-per-view. So even if they did make the fight, what are they going to do? Why would Fury go fight on DAZN for flat fees, or in Saudi Arabia, or the preferred, location and stuff of Joshua? Again, Joshua has more titles, but Tyson Fury, he has the better resume, better performances. Joshua's rematch with Wilder, he looked better than Anthony Joshua's rematch with Ruiz by a long shot. Wilder's a serious threat, and then Tyson Fury went man style through the front door, through Hell's Kitchen, and walked Wilder down, and despite being knocked unconscious from him previously. Joshua fought more of a scare fight, so I don't think the belts are gonna give Joshua that type of leverage. So I don't even know how that would happen with DAZN. That's another reason I don't think it'll happen next. What are they gonna do? Half ESPN, half DAZN app? Whereas Fox and ESPN, they have never said pay-per-view is dead, and they have never taken themselves out of the equation of the pay-per-view market. DAZN is literally the only one doing it. WWE doesn't do that. The UFC don't do that. Fox, Showtime, ESPN, none of them have taken themselves out of the equation and said, hey, we don't do pay-per-views. So I don't even know how the Tyson Fury fight would happen. It would be a big fight though, but I just don't see how it happened. Plus, like I said, Wilder might want some get back. This is not going to sit well with him, being a true warrior. Which leads me to this point. The same Brits and the UK fans, every single time, it's a 1 Wilder post, 2 Wilder post, 3 Wilder post, Andy Ruiz post, another Andy Ruiz post, calling Wilder a coward, etc., right? Another Wilder post. So Dillian Whyte has all these posts taunting Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder, PBC fighters, especially Wilder, because he was with the WBC on track, and he finally became the mandatory when he fought Oscar Rivas, right? My thing is this: Tyson Fury just went out there, did the damn thing, took Wilder's belt. Tyson Fury's mandatory is Dillian Whyte. So all this counting, 500 days, 620 days, 700 days, 800 days, 900 days, 1,000 days. Where is that UK energy to make sure that Dillian Whyte gets his shot with Tyson Fury, since it's all about mandatories? See, this is going to get funny. So Eddie Hearn, like I said, he sees dollar signs. Even though Wilder he has to make a decision that influences Fury's next move based on a contract. Eddie Hearn even said he thinks Wilder would take the rematch, you know. So we had to see what is decided. He may do like Jarrett Hurd. Jarrett Hurd was going to fight J-Rock again, but then they were trying to schedule it, and then he switched his team, and he was like, no, I need to build, you know, with this new team. So he didn't rematch him. So we don't know what Wilder's going to decide. But now, even if Wilder did decide, I want to see if the UK has the same energy of 800 days, 900 days to push for this fight. They're pushing for the Joshua fight, which is a unification. But why didn't they push Joshua to fight Wilder like this? You know, they're saying Wilder had to go through Dillian Whyte. So unfortunately for the UK, now we're starting to see what it really was, which is what I told you. This wasn't about Dillian Whyte, and Dillian Whyte was being used by Eddie Hearn as a shield, as a guard dog, and, you know, a personality and a buffer between Wilder and Anthony Joshua. Because if this was really about, hey, Dillian Whyte's the champion, you know, or he's the WBC silver interim or whatever, and he needs his crack at Wilder, the champion, and then saying he was rated 1 and, you know, misinforming the public, that saying he was the mandatory even before he was the mandatory because he was the #1 ranked, right? All of that. So let's see if they make Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, in beating Wilder, inherited his problems. Just like when Canelo beat Triple G, Triple G's mandatory was Charlo. Charlo was supposed to fight the winner of that because he had been Triple G's mandatory for a while, and then he was promised the winner, and then they made Canelo the franchise champion. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because when it came to Wilder and Joshua, Eddie Hearn and them, they didn't have the same urgency to make the fight, and then they settled on fighting Povetkin. So why doesn't Anthony Joshua fight Kubrat Pulev as scheduled and make Dillian Whyte versus Tyson Fury if Wilder doesn't want the fight? So I think Dillian Whyte is really starting to realize, if you look at his story, that he was kind of set up and used, you know, used as his buffer, because Eddie Hearn just came out and says, hey, we got to make Anthony Joshua. And Dillian Whyte's like, you look at his story. He's posting stuff about Fury and stuff like, hey, what do you mean? What about me? You know, it says Eddie Hearn trying to do Dillian Whyte dirty. And he's posting, it says, no need for a third fight between Wilder and Fury. Let's go for undisputed with AJ in the summer. And Dillian Whyte's left in the cold. And then look, Dillian Whyte responded to it. And he says, how about doing what's right and forcing him to fight me first, since I'm the #1 challenger? You see what I'm saying? So Dillian Whyte's now getting a raw deal. So we're going to see if the energy stays the same for the UK in the event that Wilder says he's not fighting Tyson Fury next. Then it should be Dillian Whyte, because the UK claimed, and all the Eddie Hearn apologists, they claimed that Dillian Whyte is owed a shot and he needs his shot, and Wilder's ducking, and Wilder's the WBC coward and stuff like that. So why is Eddie Hearn pushing for the AJ stuff when he's in negotiations with Kubrat Pulev, if he was really serious about getting Dillian Whyte a shot? It says boxing isn't just about the entertainment. Give Dillian Whyte the fights he deserves and he has fought for. So, you know, it's still looking crazy right now, because the whole platform for Dillian Whyte to insult Deontay Wilder and constantly call him out and all this was because he was the champion. It says, now I know why Deontay Wilder didn't want Dillian Whyte. I don't know what that was. But anyway, it shows me what it's about. It shows me what it's about. They were capping and saying, hey, it's about Dillian Whyte. He deserves a shot. He's been waiting 2-3 years. He's been waiting 1,000 days. But then if you go to Eddie Hearn's page, he's doing videos saying, hey, we got to make Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. And he's trying to jump in the way of that. I told you guys, this is because Anthony Joshua did not want to fight Wilder because styles make fights. Joshua is more technical than Wilder. You know, that was a given. But styles make fights, and Wilder's particular style versus Joshua probably wouldn't be good, because Joshua, is he going to do what Tyson Fury did? He's not as big as Tyson Fury. He doesn't move as well and swift and suave as Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury said this. I was at the first fight, and Tyson Fury says, Joshua can't move like me. He would have been nailed. He said he can't move like me. Wilder would have knocked him out. And he's been on record saying that. He's like, I'm the Gypsy King, so I can tame Wilder, but Joshua can't. So you see this increased energy for Eddie Hearn and Joshua to fight Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury, even though he got the knockout versus Wilder, you know, his punching power clearly is not per capita as heavy as Wilder. He just had a better game plan, and he wore Wilder down and was able to stop him. Wilder had the busted eardrum or whatever, you know, and he won the fight. You don't always have to have the most power to win, or more power than your opponent. Styles make fights. So this shows me what I already knew. Joshua is eager to fight Tyson Fury because he likes his chances against Fury better, because Tyson Fury is just a different puzzle all in all, because he can box, Tyson Fury can box. You know what I'm saying? And Tyson Fury's not the same single shot knockout artist like Wilder. Look at Dillian Whyte still petitioning, trying to get this fight. Tyson Fury knows I got what it takes to beat him. So it's funny because, like I said, the UK said they care so much about Dillian Whyte when Wilder was the one allegedly holding up Dillian Whyte from getting his opportunity. But then now you don't even hear, since as soon as Wilder lost and doesn't have the belt, that means the responsibility is now shifted over to Tyson Fury. So if Wilder wants to trigger the immediate rematch, he could do so. So all this Eddie Hearn talking about Anthony Joshua is nonsense until we find out what Wilder's going to do. But it goes to show you that this was never really about Dillian Whyte. He's not the cash cow for rematch room. And if it was about Dillian Whyte waiting 2-3 years and, you know, getting what was rightfully his by fighting Wilder and saying Wilder's a coward and all this, then why would you be talking about him not finally getting the opening? You know, now that the guards have shifted and Tyson Fury is the champion, why won't Tyson Fury fight his mandatory straight away? You know, it's funny. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. A lot has to be decided, but that's really the latest. Damn, that punch looks crazy. Tyson Fury did his thing, bro. And that's the other thing. Tyson Fury, he's really the A side to me over Joshua. He's really the A side. I mean, he beat Klitschko when he hadn't lost in 9-10 years. He just knocked out the knockout artist who hadn't lost. Bro, that's two people with 10 plus title defenses, 10 title defenses in a row that he just stopped their reigns. But I will say Tyson Fury versus AJ would be a big fight for Britain. I just don't think it's going to play out like that. And, you know, the funny thing is, this definitely wasn't Wilder's night, and he's going to have to change a lot. But I don't count people like Wilder out, because he still has enough of the ingredient. He knows he can hurt Fury for sure. He can't hurt Fury fighting like he did. So I don't understand why people are saying they don't want to see the trilogy. The trilogy still got to happen, because Wilder's still a threat, because now you can't underestimate Fury. You know he can try to walk you down. You're going to have to get some stuff right, make some adjustments. So I still want to see it. You know, it's just a matter of if Wilder takes a tune-up or if he goes straight into it. And that's up to him. So let me know what you guys think. We unpacked a lot to unpack and uncover and talk about. You know, I want to see what happens. Fury versus AJ would be cool. I just don't think it's going to happen next. I really don't. And like I said, it's just, there's a lot of like little nuanced things in politics, like Dillian Whyte incessantly calling out Wilder, but then as soon as Wilder loses the belt and Tyson Fury is the champion and his mandatory is Dillian Whyte, Eddie Hearn don't even care about Dillian Whyte getting a crack at it, you know? So Dillian Whyte has to feel pretty used in this situation because he got played. And I told you, this is exactly what I predicted. He was the junkyard dog. He was the guard dog. He wasn't Shredder or Krang. He was Bebop and Rocksteady for Eddie Hearn. You know, they created this like platform, and you know, oh, just keep taunting Wilder and, you know, make people feel sympathy and feel sorry for you. Tell him you've been waiting a whole bunch of. Eddie Hearn's prepared to have him keep waiting. He's not even mentioning. He wants a crack at Tyson Fury for AJ. Look at Sky Sports. We should go straight into AJ versus Fury next. This may be our chance to make sure it's undisputed. Eddie Hearn, not even worried about it. Now all of a sudden undisputed is so important, imperative. But when Wilder called AJ out, I'm telling you, AJ didn't want the Wilder style, especially when he was undefeated. You know, he might be more willing to face him now that Tyson Fury already showed that Wilder, you know, is beatable because he, you know, took his O. But, you know, it's crazy how it all worked. Let me know what you guys think. We unpack. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.